To get started, welcome to the stream. Breaking news. If you ain't here yet, get up in here because it's about to get juicy in this BIE. So for everybody who didn't know, I'm just gonna let you know right now. Your boy Diddy, he going through it. It's wild and out of control, and we got all the facts, all the news, everything covering the story. So I hope y'all tune in and you like it.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment. Joining us now is CNN's entertainment reporter Elizabeth Wagmeister, and also with us CNN chief legal.
So as y'all hear that right now, Diddy done been indicted on ex-trafficking charges. He's got a litany of charges because it's going to be a RICO case, guys. It's going to be absolutely insane. And I'm going to let y'all see my beautiful face real fast. It's going to become beyond ridiculous. It's going to get so bad, to be honest with you guys, that I feel like... Why is it not changing over here? Okay, hold on. Oh, shoot. That's why. Yeah, it's going to get so bad here, guys, that we're going to see Diddy at his worst. It's going to get much more bad than you can see right now. I have a lot of this evidence compiled. They confiscated, and I know a lot of you guys don't heard it, over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, not just baby oil, but the lubrication for the freak-offs. They all been found in his homes, both in the Manhattan and Miami locations. They haven't gone to all of his homes, but it's going to get worse. They recovered guns, drum barrels. There's going to be racketeering and a lot of other charges placed on him. And if you did not know, and if you have not been watching, I'm just going to give it to you straight and forward right now. Diddy has been, if you didn't know, he got arrested last night. But now, as of today, he did not place bail. He has been sent to jail. And it is getting crazier and crazier by the minute. More and more people are coming out, as you can see on the news. But we're going to have it all here right now. So... of course, we want to get into the charges and everything that kind of went down with Diddy first and foremost. So I'm going to go and let y'all see firsthand what was kind of going on with it. You know what I'm saying? So here's just what
obviously a big office. They do a lot of big cases.
We're about to hear about this case. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. I want to give it to y'all straight and to the vein. So of course y'all gonna be like, well, what do you know? Well, I'm not in the legal world myself. I only had secondhand experience because my father was a judge for over the majority of my life while he was in it. So I know a little bit of court proceedings, but I will let a federal agent explain it to you best so that way we can take this apart and really understand what's going to be going on with the case going forward. So if you can, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate everybody for jumping in here and watching it right now. It's going to get crazy, and I just want y'all to make sure y'all tune in. All right, so yeah, y'all see who it is, and yes, of course, I'm gonna go to him because, like he said, he's a federal agent. He's already been doing this. So let's listen to it a little bit.
They were intimately involved in the R. Kelly case. They actually were the ones that did the 6ix9ine case.
So what he's already talking about is the reason why, and I think this is a very interesting thing to talk about before I even get into it too heavily, and that's Myron right there. Hold on, let me move over Fresh because Fresh ain't gonna have nothing to say today. It's all about Myron, baby. My bad, y'all. Let me move over here. Boom. So, like I was about to say is, these cases all opened up honestly, it all started with that Epstein case. And a lot of people don't even really think about it. But it also goes back and it ties into the AUSA, which Myron just mentioned. Those are the people that are indicting Diddy at the moment. They already had a good win earlier in this decade with R. Kelly. They've had several indictments that are, going crazy right now. So it's just going to show that this is going to might be the new norm. And we have to watch all of this stuff kind of go down, because if this is what's going to be the world from now on, we need to know what's going on. And again, I'm going to let this man explain it to you best. I'll wind it back just a little bit so you can understand what he's saying. And yeah, I'm going to let it play because this is really important, y'all. Really, really important. I think everybody and their mama needs to be watching this thing.
Edutainment New York is definitely involved in the R. Kelly case. A big office. They do a lot of big cases. They were intimately involved in the R. Kelly case. They actually were the ones that did the 6ix9ine case. So HSI New York is definitely a powerhouse, and so is that U.S. Attorney's Office. So I'm not surprised they aggressively pursued this. But this is what's going to happen. He got indicted. He got arrested, right? They probably got the true bill today. This afternoon sometime. They went to go pick him up at the hotel. What's going to happen is he's going to have his initial appearance in front of a magistrate judge tomorrow, probably in Manhattan.
Okay, so y'all, he had that appearance already, and because of the severity of the case, excuse me, y'all, because of the severity of the case, they already have not given this man bail at all. So he will not be seeing bail. He is serving jail time until his court date is arraigned. I want y'all to understand how serious that is in general. Okay, so even because they know that he could have posted bail, that's why they did not give him bail, because they're like, with the amount of money, they couldn't have placed a bail high enough to stop him from being a flight risk and all these other kind of things. And they're going to explain it a lot better details than I can. But I really want you guys to hone in on what's really going on. And I thank everybody over there on YouTube for giving me likes. I appreciate you guys. Just keep up all the love and support, because this is going to get really, really crazy. And I don't know, are y'all going to cancel Diddy like y'all canceled R. Kelly? Because I've been seeing all the memes and stuff like that, and we're going to get into a couple of those too, that have been coming out. My thing is, to be honest, I don't think Diddy really had all that music that we need to cancel him, his music at least. But y'all tell me if there's any bangers or any hits that might be missing out there that I'm not hearing, you know what I'm saying? But let's let it rock.
When he's there, they're going to unseal the indictment and they're going to hit him with the charges. I predict it's probably going to be sex trafficking and racketeering, because, and I could talk about why it's going to be racketeering here in a second.
And he was 100% correct. It was 100% racketeering and X trafficking. So, and he's going to explain the difference in both of those, because I know a lot of you guys think that, X trafficking or the human trafficking, or, where they send multiple people places, is the same thing. They're going to explain why those things are absolutely two separate, cases. Because, when it comes to the court world, everything has to be very precise, and it doesn't allow for you to just, blanket everything. Certain times you can. That's why they use the RICO, and he's going to say this, I believe. But that allows them to get things outside of the statutes of limitation that you would have usually been able to charge people with. So things that are way years beyond will be able to be brought up and inside of this RICO case, because they have to prove that the criminal organization is still up and running. So that means that he's utilizing his money in any way to maintain the X trafficking and the racketeering. So I'm gonna let them talk.
But he's going to go to his initial appearance in front of a magistrate judge. That magistrate judge is going to assign him to a district judge, because he's been indicted. So now his case is going to go to a district judge for his initial appearance, because it's mandatory by law that you go see a judge within 24 to 72 hours of you being arrested. So
they got him in less than 24 hours. So he did what, 12, not even 12, 10 hours in jail probably, and then straight into the court case. And it took them a lot of deliberation, it seems like, because FBI agents were releasing evidence on what he was doing live at about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Showing, excessive firearms. They were showing the baby oil and all of that kind of stuff that they have as evidence involving the case. And, of course, the agent involved didn't disclose all the things in the case. Actually, I'll bring that up in a minute. I want to give you guys the details of the case first, and then we'll get into the stuff that they found, just so you can get a visual, because, visuals always work best. That's why we're here with a visual podcast. All right, guys, let it rock.
He's going to get the charges read to him that are on the indictment. He's not going to actually enter a plea. It's an initial appearance only. They're going to tell him he has the right to remain silent, blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to ask, hey, what does the government want to do as far as like his bond, which I'm assuming him and his legal team are probably posturing to try to get him released on a bond tomorrow, is what I'm assuming, which is why he's been so cooperative and flew up to New York and kind of made himself available to the feds, because he knew that this indictment was imminent.
So listen, let me let y'all know something that's very, very important too about this case. As you can see, again, he didn't post bond or get a bail because, again, they knew he would be able to pay it. And obviously they're really trying to get him to serve this time. It's not a joke. All right. It's so serious that they said that even if he had the money, he's not getting out. On top of all of this, Diddy is going to be, they probably going to process this case a lot faster. Hold up. I want to wind it back because it's a point I want to really touch on.
To try to get him released on a bond tomorrow is what I'm assuming, which is why he's been so cooperative and
cooperative. That's the point I really want to hone in on, because I didn't want you guys to lose focus on what it really is. The thing that they don't really let you know is being cooperative, depending on the severity of the case, really does not matter. And of course, people are going to be like, well, it might be Diddy's first offense, and all these other kind of things, especially with this severity of crimes. They kind of want to throw the book at you regardless of if you're cooperative or not, because at the same time, it just goes to show, in a sane world, you might have been better off, burning everything. That's why they show in all these movies, they're doing a literal top to down purge of all the information. And I say that as a joke only because, let's say he had did all that. I mean, I don't know how much thousands of bottles worth of baby oil is, but I'm pretty sure it's a couple, pools worth. So we'll see. I'm gonna get just to the case, and it's like another part of the facts that I want to get into, y'all.
Flew up to New York and kind of made himself available to the feds because he knew that this indictment was imminent.
Okay, do you believe that magistrate judge, which is going to be tasked with the initial appearance, do you think that, again, we're talking high profile case, it's a lot of man hours, a lot of money.
Yeah.
Do you think that they are prepared to deal with a potential bond application or a bond, almost initial appearance to listening to bond tomorrow, or is something that they will probably put off to another date?
I think they'll probably kind of figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah, they figured it out. They figured it all the way out. I want to see. Hold on. All right, let's talk about how did the case start, because maybe that'd be a little bit more pertinent. I'm going to get to the news reports, because the news reports are absolutely insane. And also fair use, because I'm not watching the whole thing.
So this is how I think. This is what I, speculate the investigation started to some degree. When Cassie first came out and said that she was being abused by him, etc., right? And they might have got tips and everything else like this from before, right, from the tip line or whatever. What I think more than likely happened was they started talking to a couple of people, going out, doing a couple knock and talks. Hey, this seems a little weird. These women keep coming forward and complaining about, nefarious sexual activity with Diddy from dating back from the 90s, whatever. This is a little weird. And at that point, especially if you're dealing with someone high profile, after the second or third or fourth interview where you might have a good witness or two, you're going to the United States Attorney's Office early.
So y'all hear that? So all it took was 2 or 3. And to be honest with you, just in the light of the news, like you can see it on like your Instagram spiritual world or any of the other, news outlets. You can see it clearly it was Cassie came out. You had a gentleman come out. I don't want to name all the names, but you can Google it. Okay. This has gotten really bad that all the facts are really just out there for you to find. And it's going to be on his legal team, Diddy's legal team, to really play on certain details that will get him out of this. But at this point in time, it's looking like the magistrate judge is ready to throw everything at him. And that's why the ASUA, or the feds, as we call them, the feds have a 98% conviction rate. So it's going to be extremely hard to try this case on the behalf of Diddy. I'm not sure that we're going to see him get out. I really want to hear you guys' opinion. So if you could just hit me up in these chats, let me know what you think is going to happen, because to be real with you, the next question is, where's all this money going to go? And then in the indictment, will they bring in his family? Because I'm not too sure if we'll hear it in here, but they've already included in the indictment 50 Cent's ex. So it's just a matter of time, because in the RICO case, they typically put, more than, I want to say, 6 to 7 people in the trial as a part of it. So if they get one, it's going to keep going up the chain. This is similar to the RICO that we got with the YSL and Young Thug. I mean, is it Young Thug? Yeah, Young Thug. But let's keep it rocking.
Leon, right? And you're saying, look, this is the target. This is who he is. This is what we think we can build, etc. We talked to these people, whatever. And I think in a case like this, they more than likely had the U.S. Attorney's Office ear early on. And, I've always said this, the feds and the United States Attorney's Office, right? They like clout. They like the ability to prosecute high-profile individuals. It's going to hit the news. It's going to be big, a big W for them, a big press release.
This comment right here is very wild. But on their Twitch, they saying Diddy is being tested, and if he passes the test, he reaches Oprah level. What y'all think about that? My thing is, Oprah is already in part of another indictment scandal her damn self. So I don't know if that's the level you want to be at, my man. That level is going to have you a little messed up, for real. Like, honestly, it's going to have you real messed up. It's going to be real crazy, because think about it like this. Oh, excuse me, guys. I don't give y'all the runaround. But think about it like this. If he does get away with this one, it's only going to be one thing to topple his entire empire after this. He would have to be super clean as a whistle. And the thing is, I do not condone any abuse or anything like that. I don't condone any of the actions by Diddy. But let's just say, how many other billionaires are having their own type of freak offs that we know nothing about, and they're getting away with whatever else they're getting away with? And I just want to see if this is going to be the new norm, because at the same time, like I said, Oprah might be on the same tip. We got to see what's up with the Epstein case after this one. But I'm gonna let you hear what my man got to say, because we're gonna get to the news information right on after this. It's really wild.
So I'm assuming once they figured out who the guy was, right, Diddy, they probably were working with the United States Attorney's Office fairly early on this, is what I predict. Given the nature of who the individual was. And also keep in mind, there was a successful prosecution of R. Kelly prior to this. So, some of, if I'm not mistaken, some of the AUSAs that were on that case were also involved in this R. Kelly case.
All right,
are involved in this Diddy case that were involved in the R. Kelly case. Sorry.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question, right? And you mentioned your prediction, and I guess you could expound on your prediction for charges. And I would love to hear you explain that before. But in following up to that, I also want you to, answer the question of, okay, if because you mentioned, racketeering.
Yeah.
And usually when people are in a racket, it's more than one. It's just not a single.
You see what I mentioned earlier? Like I said, it's going to be multiple people placed in this, and it's going to be a lot of high profile people, and I'm really hoping that it's not going to intersect into other people who have been doing good for the community, and just happen to be at a freak off, and now they're going to be indicted for all of this other kind of craziness. But this is the thing of being in attendance with somebody who's going to kind of get these charges, y'all. You got to be watching what could happen with the people you have around you. They really say this, your network is your net worth, and this is the people you keep around you. Things that happen to them can definitely fall back on you.
Singular individual, and maybe I'm wrong, but do you believe that this indictment solely falls on Sean Diddy Combs, or maybe there are 3, 4, 5, 6, a dozen other people, maybe not charged with everything, but with kind of ancillary people who the prosecutor is going to try to dance along, maybe in a trial, to say, hey, these were the people that were doing his bidding, but he was making a call. What do you think?
Yeah, so the reason why they're going to have to use the racketeering statute, right, is because a lot of these crimes happened a long time ago, right? Like some of these crimes are beyond the statute of limitations. So in order for the prosecutors to kind of bring in some of those allegations that happened in the 90s or maybe even the 80s or early 2000s or whatever, they're going to need to go ahead and prove that he was committing these crimes for a period of time, right? Racketeering activity, right? And the criminal organization is ongoing, or the criminal enterprise is ongoing. So that is why they're going to have to do this under the auspice of RICO, so that they can go ahead and say, look, we're going to bring in all these other crimes, right, that were done decades ago, because he's been doing it for a while. So sex trafficking is considered a crime that falls under the RICO Act, right? There's drug trafficking, there's violence, witness intimidation, there's extortion, all these different types of crimes that they typically had there historically to go after organized crime like the mafia, whatever. As long as they can prove that he's still committing these crimes to some degree, they can bring in all those allegations from.
So all they have to do is tie in all of the older situations, and this is why RICO is so important, and this is why it's key to be listening to this type of information, because anything that was outside of those statutes of limitations, like he was saying, all the way back into the 80s up until now, if all those things are ongoing, if they were more severe back in the day, but he even had a semblance of those things going on today, they bring them all the way back up. So then he's going to be getting lifetime's worth of charges, because that's over 4 decades. The 80s, yeah, you were in your 40s. That's 4 decades. So what you think, like, and in that amount of time, how many people do you think have been violated? 4 decades. That's 40 years. Really sit there and think about it. And I mean, most of y'all watching, y'all can thank God it's not you. But just know that there might have been somebody a neighbor, a friend, or somebody like that been Diddy'd. And that's pretty much the word at this point. I think that this case is going to become just as big, if not bigger, than the Epstein case. It's going to shake a lot of communities. And I think that we are going to have to take a step back and really analyze what's going on in the world around us when we see all of this. Because it's not just him. This is just the one that got.
From prior, but
because, just knowing anybody who's worked in law enforcement or anything like that, and I'm sorry, I'm going to put this back. Whenever somebody gets caught, it's never the first time, and it's never like they aren't the first what I'm saying? They didn't learn it themselves. They learned it from somebody else. So they're not the first person, and this is not the first time. So it's going to be ridiculous, because this probably became his standard, you all.
They need to do it under the RICO statute to be able to bring them in, so they get around this whole statute of limitations problem.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I spoke about that before, too. Could you, so sex trafficking, and I've heard a few, us YouTubers on here, obviously the 99.9, and you're obviously the 0.1% that has worked in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Like, we're either like ghetto lawyers, or we're going off like what we either know from either our experience dealing with the criminal justice system, or just kind of like looking at these things a lot. Could you explain sex trafficking? Because I've heard,
Sure.
like, for example, like Whack 100 said, yo, well, if you fly a girl out and you fuck her, and if she alleges that there's an abuse, there. Well, the person crossed state lines, this and third. It's sex trafficking. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of like a very loose and broad, interpretation of what sex trafficking could be. What is sex trafficking? And where would a federal authority start to look at it in?
So I'm going to just kind of give the more practical agent side of it, right? So the thing with sex trafficking, and this is very contrary to what people think, it's not as common as people think it is, right? What people always conflate sex trafficking with is human smuggling, bringing in illegal aliens into the United States for a sum or a fee. Those individuals are brought into the United States. Their families are being extorted, etc. That's human smuggling. Now, does it lead to human trafficking later on when they get into the United States and they're forced to work jobs or whatever it may be? Of course, but people often conflate human smuggling with human trafficking, which are two completely different crimes. One is, AUSC 1324. The other one is a far more serious crime that's 18 USC, right? Which is the criminal code versus the immigration code. So that's number one. Number two, as far as sex trafficking goes, it's actually fairly hard to prove. A lot of the times when people think that they got a sex trafficking case, and I know this because I've been on so many of these different raids, is what ends up happening is you bust a prostitution ring, right? You thought, oh yeah, we had these girls are being trafficked, whatever. You talk to them and they all love their pimp. They don't want to cooperate. They don't want to say that they were being held or whatever. Some of them are lying to protect them. Some of them were trafficked or whatever. But the point is that it's very difficult to get witnesses because sometimes they don't want to necessarily cooperate. So what ends up happening is you just end up getting everyone arrested for solicitation charges, right? Ends up being just a prostitution ring bust. Now, the way to get around that though, right, which is how the feds come in a lot of the times, is if the girls are under 18, it's an automatic human trafficking charge. Automatic.
Wow.
So that's where they're going to get.
So you see that right there? And that's what they're saying. And I want you guys to take a moment because they're gonna mention it now. But you got to get all the facts when it comes to this situation. So you should just Google Diddy 17 or age 17, and you're going to see that there is a few young ladies who came out years ago who I guess were silenced because the advent of the internet wasn't as strong as it is today. That were at these freak offs, and of course they were coerced by another individual, and I'm gonna let them explain because they have the names and everything else, but it's really, really crazy. Like to the point where it's sickening, and I know that, it may be hard for everybody to watch, but I just want you guys, if you are still watching it, please hit that like button and share this so that everybody can know the facts of what's going on, because this is just prior. We haven't even gotten to the stuff that happened today. But we need to get this message out to everybody because it's going to affect a lot of things going forward. And don't get it twisted, because this is all going to be in effect with the whole presidency and all this other stuff going on. It's so much going on day by day that you really have to stay very, very focused. But again, share the video if you can with somebody that would need to hear all of this and would like to know what's going on with the Diddy facts. All right, guys, I'm gonna let this rock because I know this part is gonna be essentially juicy.
Get them is some of these girls, from what I understand, were under 18 at the time when Diddy was messing with them and bringing them around in different states. That's where I think they're gonna get them. I mean, I'll have to look at the indictment to see, but this is my prediction.
Okay, let me interject and add. So on one of the particular civil cases that he has is that there was a young woman who was 17 that was supposedly, she met someone that worked for his label. That person said, "Hey, I think Diddy would like you." They called Diddy. Diddy spoke to the girl, spoke to the person, and then within a matter of hours, the girl got on a private jet to fly to Diddy.
Damn.
And allegedly was around him. By the way, this girl, I'll post it here. I'll send you a link if you want to show it on your stream.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Or you could even Google 17-year-old Diddy. There's multiple.
You see that? Google that so that way you can see it yourself. I mean, again, if you don't have the stomach for it, I'm just letting you know that you need to know all the facts so that way you're not making a misjudgment and thinking that he's innocent when insurmountable evidence is actually coming to light. It's not a lot that's going to be key. It's like this time it's like, it might be the end of a legacy.
There's multiple like articles about it. Her face is blurred out. She was seen sitting on his lap. Okay. There's a New York Post. I'll post it in the chat here. I don't know if.
Okay. Yeah. Because Bill's on the computer, so he could do it.
Okay. All right. So
and this part gets a little graphic, so I think I'm gonna skip over it. But basically, what they're gonna get into is that young lady, 17 years old, was by what you can call a liaison, a assistant, a consigliere, went out, found this young lady in Detroit, Michigan. Went in Detroit, Michigan. He proceeded to give her some drugs. I'm not going to say which drugs. Again, you can go watch this stream, because I don't want to, perpetuate all of this kind of negativity, but he gave her drugs, and then within about an hour or two was in New Jersey through a private jet at a freak off with Diddy, in a room with Diddy. So that was one young lady who came out and came to light. But we're going to talk about like the major parts. Like, so what does a grand jury look like?
Is that they've had this grand jury convened for a very long time. Sure.
Sexual assault.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for sure. Because the thing is that they've had this grand jury convened for a very long time. I remember reading about this originally, like almost 2 to 3 months ago, that they started doing these grand jury things. So that tells me the fact that they're indicting him now, that they got a lot of witnesses.
Usual? Like again, we have no idea about federal grand juries. It feels like they've presented this case for 2 months.
Okay, let me explain how grand jury works to the federal level. Give me one second. Hold on. So, because a lot of people, so the grand jury is nothing more than a group of your peers that sit in a room and deliberate on cases based on probable cause, right? So, not to be confused with a trial jury, right, where it's like, 12, 6 or 12, whatever that may be, right? 12 people. So, a grand jury, right? The AUSA convene, and they typically serve for 3 months, 6 months, whatever it may be, and they'll sit there, and the grand jury typically convenes once a week, depending on how busy the United States Attorney's Office is, how often they're indicting cases, whatever it may be. So what ends up happening is the AUSA comes in with their case agent, and the AUSA asks the case agent questions, right? And the case agent presents evidence to the case. Now, keep in mind, I want to make this very clear. It's just to establish probable cause, guys. Probable cause is not that high of a threshold, right? But like I said before, when you're indicting, the AUSA pretty much is ready to go to trial. So it's probable cause just to get the indictment, but obviously the AUSA is looking long-term to win a trial. So you go in there, and I've testified literally hundreds of times. You go in there, they sit you down, they swear you in, and they ask you questions, right? The AUSA asks you questions on the case, you explain the case, then they open it up for a Q&A for the grand jury to ask you questions. You answer any questions in there about the case, anything that wasn't clear. You walk out the grand jury room, you and the AUSA, you give them some time to deliberate, depending on how complex the case is, that will dictate how long it takes them to deliberate, and then you get something called a true bill of indictment after the fact. That true bill of indictment is filed with the clerk, and then you go ahead and you get an arrest warrant from the judge. And that's to answer your question that you mentioned before, hey, why did they pick him up tonight versus tomorrow? What I'm assuming is, since they had the grand jury convening, right, and they knew that he was going to be indicted today, I guarantee they had probably agents watching him the whole time, and they saw he was at the hotel lobby. They're like, bro, we got eyes on him. It's safe to do it. We technically have an arrest warrant for him now, and in the arrest warrant, if you look at any federal arrest warrant, it says at the bottom, you are hereby commanded to arrest XYZ, right?
Now, see, that's something I did not know. So when you get federally indicted, that means it's on site. The minute any federal agent, any law enforcement has eyes on you, they are automatically commanded to arrest you. So you could be anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. You could be on the process of going somewhere, but that's also to, stop people from being a flight risk. And what that means for people who don't know what a flight risk is that means for you to not be able to jump up on a plane if you have the funds or capabilities or means, even a train, any type of means of transportation to get outside of the country so that way you are outside of the statutes of limitations. Because there are several countries that do not extradite, which means that they won't tell anybody if you're there. And I mean, of course, there's not too many that you can get to that fast without, because that's what the whole point of, TSA and all this other kind of stuff is. It's to make sure that people aren't going and doing wild things throughout the world like this or worse, guys. I'm going to let this go a little bit more just so you can get the rest of what's going on with the grand jury. And then we're going to take it to what's going on today in this stuff. I want to thank you guys again. Appreciate everybody, but just do me one little favor. It's absolutely free to you. If you're liking what you're viewing, hit that subscribe button. If you really want to just share the love and you don't want to subscribe, just hit the like button for me. It also awards you with a special little fireworks and things like that. And if you can, and if you want to, or you find it that somebody would find some value from this, share this video so that they can watch it right now, because you never know, this thing could change up in a heartbeat.
Right? So if you got him in plain sight and it's easy, it's safe to effect the arrest, you kind of have to arrest him because you've been commanded by a magistrate judge now that you have that that arrest warrant, or a district judge, depending on whatever it is. But regardless, you got an arrest warrant from the judge. So they probably had eyes on him the whole time. They saw he was in a hotel lobby. Arrest warrant was signed by the judge. They just picked him up right then and there. That's why I predict why they picked him up this evening.
So you're not thinking that maybe, even though he seems like he has to be cooperative, you don't think that maybe, I don't know, he was like, oh, I got to go back to Miami, and maybe like he hit like his plane guy, like, hey, let's go back to Miami, because I don't know if he would know when the indictment will be coming down, and they're like, no, fuck that. We're not gonna wait till he gets on another plane. That could have been a reason too. I mean, I'm thinking, typically the most simple answer tends to be the answer. What I'm predicting is they probably have been having him. They've had him under surveillance for a few days now, especially knowing that the grand jury convened and it was going to indict him today, kind of to see if he was going to run or see what would happen. And at this point, with the way his attorney was talking with the feds, what was that? Do you think that maybe they have his phone? What's the surveillance like at this?
Okay, yeah, this is where we're going to stop, because this is where you're getting to kind of conspiracy theory territory. They talk about how search warrants work and stuff. If you guys want to hear the rest of that one, let me know. But I want to get into some of the stuff that happened with the recent news, so that way you guys can see that, this man is cooked to the max. You know what I'm saying?
The $5 meal
deal
at McDonald's means.
You know what I'm saying? Send me them likes. Get them likes up. We got enough people. We got more likes than we got people in the building. But I would appreciate it if you can get some more people in this building and get them likes up. Thank you all. Thank you all for watching. But let's get to the news with his lawyer themselves from earlier today. And I think this is a little crazy. And then we're going to get into the prosecution, because prosecution, when they pull out that evidence, y'all, like, golly, boy, goodness gracious.
Lawyer, let's listen.
Get out. Wow. To me, I'll share it with the press, and you guys won't be behind the curtain.
Did you speak to Mr. Combs?
I speak to him all the time. Yeah.
What's his reaction to everything that's
Hey, they mice is off.
He's coming. I mean, he moved to New York, as I think some of you guys know. We brought him to New York about 2 weeks ago because we knew this day was going to come, and it's here.
Did you expect it to happen last night? Was that planned?
No, it's not planned. Certainly, it's not planned by us. I mean, he came here to surrender at a time agreeable to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and then they arrested him last night. I spent the evening with him. I was with him until about 1 o'clock. His spirits are good. He's confident.
Well, listen, I hope that he stays that way, because they did not. This was at 9 a.m. Okay, this is before they came down with the stuff, and the news is ablaze with all of this. But this is getting crazy, man, because I don't know what to say. Let's see how he's going to look after this.
He is dealing with this head on, the way he's dealt with every challenge in his life, and he's not guilty. He's innocent of these charges. We know what the charges are going to be without seeing the indictment. It's going to be racketeering. It's going to be sex trafficking. It's going to be things along those lines. This is what we've been expecting since the searches in March. He, to his great credit, he voluntarily came to New York. Not a lot of defendants do that. He came to New York to basically engage the court system and start the case, and it'll start today. And he's going to plead not guilty, obviously. He's going to fight this with all of his energy and all of his might and the full confidence of his lawyers. And I expect a long battle with a good result for Mr. Combs.
Do you think he'll be released?
I'm going to fight like hell to get him released, and he should be released with all that he's done and coming here voluntarily. And guys, I'm going to cut it short because I have to go in. All right? So thank you.
So yeah, man, listen, this is where it's going to get crazy because that's his lawyer before jumping into the courthouse, like I said, y'all. So it's going to be a wild ride, y'all. Wild ride. I really want to hear what you guys think that's going to happen with this. Like, I would really love to hear you in the comments because Diddy cook, man, and not just in the small way. Like, it's really crazy. Like, I really wanted to put it in a terms that you guys can really understand. But hold on, I want to show y'all. This is the video that really got me because I watched this earlier while I was at work, and I saw them talking about. This is where the viral moment is about to come in. Make sure y'all watching. You can clip this up and get that. This is the moment they talked about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil right here. Man, is it crazy though? Because what was he doing with all this baby oil? I mean, listen, I know that you wanted them to look good, but did he with baby oil? Y'all want to see that? Who was watching that? And listen, another thing that's really crazy, I'm going to say this right before I play this video. Diddy had an entire movie showcasing everything that he was doing in the past. The movie came out 10 years ago, all right? And if you want to see it, I'm trying to tell you, see, they always try to tell you that there's something real in the movies. This man gave away the entirety of what he was doing, the type of stuff he was giving people on the movie called Get 'Em to the Greek. They say it's a movie about a rock star, but really that was a highlight of Diddy's life. He's a mogul in there and all of this other kind of stuff. Watch the movie. You can probably catch it. I'll look it up in a little second, but I want y'all to see this because this is the prosecution, and they're going crazy. Y'all, very crazy in this one. All right, hold on.
Indictment to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs
Craziness, y'all. So listen, this is the fact that they called the freak-offs because this is he just renamed the Freakniks to his own personal, and I could just imagine him. Y'all at the freak off, 1995, freak off. He probably was his own DJ up in that joint. How wild was he? Probably had, you know what? I'm not gonna get into all of that. It was crazy. He probably had baby oil fountains in that joint, as much baby oil as he had. And you know what's funny? My mom said, this is a joke for y'all right here. My mom said he went to Costco and he just said, I'm gonna go buy the bargain brand, and you know what? Just put me a pallet. Just put a pallet of that baby oil on there for me, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get up out of here.
sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant.
See, now this is the part right there that I'm sorry I'm pausing it. This is also for fair use, but That's the part where you need to watch Get Him to the Greek, because on the Get Him to the Greek, they tried to euthanize it and say they called it a Jeffrey, and he would give people to Jeffrey when crazy ass ish happened. Watch that movie, y'all. If you got time, I just looked it up too. They got it on Netflix and Prime Video. And dang, I just lost 2. But get my likes up. I appreciate y'all for coming in and watching.
As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media.
And that's the Cassie situation for anybody just tuning in right now. That right there is where Cassie came out to light. And that was even years behind. But again, this is why that RICO is so important, because the RICO case being involved will allow for all of these decades worth of crimes to be brought back to the forefront. So that's why I'm saying, like, just with the title, Diddy gonna be cooked to the max. And in this one right here, they're gonna show the litany of evidence. So let it get back to it.
Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee.
Yeah, they show it over here.
As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
So for people that don't understand what the collateral might mean, that means that he used these videos as blackmail to make these people continuously return at his behest or at his request whenever he wanted to, because he's like, if you didn't do it, I'm gonna let this come to light. And then it would be, a personal threat to their character.
And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even.
And then that's what the one thing that they kept saying that's big. They offer you that $50 million. Diddy was offering that $50 million to certain people of higher caliber. And once you're a celebrity, they was offering them that $50 million. Matter of fact, I can go back and watch that Shannon Sharp Cat Williams joint. That he was the one telling you. Get in the room with him, offer you that $50 million, you be in a lot of places, contemplating your life. And then that type of money is life changing. So people were doing things in the hopes of changing their life forever, and their lives were changed, just not for the better. And that's the problem now that we got. If you're just tuning in, I appreciate you guys. Can we get my likes up? Just hit the like button. It's absolutely free to you. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm going to get this man talking again.
Even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate.
I think we're going to have to watch this case live, guys, because I do want to see where the cases of kidnapping come in. I want to see what was going on with all of this, because now that it's out here in the public, we got to see what's really going on. My man has been getting away with damn near murder. And then who knows if they'll bring up that, the Suge Knight stuff and Tupac and even Biggie. Because I know we all want to hear if they got evidence or anything pertaining to that. I would put a 1 in the chat if you want to hear about that. Just put the number 1.
And threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting.
See, there you go.
When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers.
So see, listen to that.
The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs.
It's like a weird situation. So he had a mix, and this is why you have to really pay attention, because he mixed around the type of people. He had people that were paid that already did this type of work, and then people who probably weren't comfortable, but when they get into an environment, and this is how the manipulation starts. They get into an environment where, okay, the people that are paid, they're already doing stuff. And, he's like walking them through, and he's like, oh yeah, you can do this here, have your wildest dreams happen. And then that's how they kind of lure you in just a little bit to drop your guard a little bit, because you're seeing it already happen. And so it's like, okay, well, it wouldn't be too outside of the normal. But that's, again, a part of the manipulation you have to watch out. I'm going to let the man keep talking, because we're here to get the facts about the court case, not to break down the psychology just yet.
Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened.
Hold on. Before he gets into that, the headline just let me know how much they're going to be trying to work on this case right now. So as far as they are concerned, right now they're looking at the past 16 years. So I don't think, because if you were watching earlier, we spoke on they might be going all the way back into the 80s. So as far as right now is concerned, they're only going back into the early 2000s. So I think about 2000, this is probably like 2010-ish, maybe 2009. Around those times. So from there to now, and everybody involved in any of the solicitation, the racketeering, and the sex trafficking will be both a witness and probably person of interest, because I don't know if they're putting him as a defendant yet. I'm gonna let him say the rest of this, because in a couple, I might skip over to the stuff he found.
And Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet.
That's that $50 million I said.
And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs's crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee.
Y'all hearing that? So he hid them in his homes until they, I guess, kind of healed from situations and variously threatened, and even people that got away. He, kind of chased them down with his own best abilities, and continued those threats. So this is why this is getting bigger and bigger, and this indictment is going to be so serious. And the headline is saying women, but just like the man said in the beginning, it's both men and women. It's people of both sides have been affected by this. So where does it? Are they going to play more on the angle that the women were the victims, or were everybody a victim? I'm just curious, and I'm not saying that anybody was less or more a victim. It's just that I just want to see how they will utilize the information to, prosecute the man, because as they're clear as they're saying, is the women were. I mean, it's probably going to be more women that come to light, of course. But as we clearly saw, there are at least 2 men that have came to light. I think actually 4 now, because they got Trey Songz. They've had Justin Timberlake, I believe. It's some other people coming out, so we'll see.
As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s.
So only 3 guns, but this is where it gets crazy.
And a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether.
See what I'm saying? There it is, y'all. There you go. There go your viral moment right there. He probably had walls of lube just sitting in his house. And the thing is, though, I don't even understand like what it looked like to investigators coming in having to pick it up. But that is crazy because, I mean, at the end of the day, he was prepared for an apocalyptic freak-off. That's what they said.
Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts.
All right, I'm gonna fast forward because I don't want to get flagged. But yeah, that's what they found in his house.
Now I want to be clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly. Anyone with information can call 1-877-4HSI-TIP. I want to express my deep appreciation for the victims and witnesses who have used their voices and helped bring this criminal conduct to light. We would not be here without them. I also want to thank the dedicated case agents on the...
All right, we ain't gonna listen to do all the thanks, but yeah, we definitely want to shout out to all the victims because not even a shout out, but give our condolences and heartfelt love to all of them because I know that they had a lot to face when facing a billionaire. I mean, how many of us can really sit there and say that they had to go up against a billionaire on the craziness that they were going through? Like, that they put them through and stuff like that. It's something that you might not be able to wrap your head around. It might be like absolutely insane. So what I'm saying is let's just take a moment and really respect that. I'm saying that A, it's not us, but B, that, these people that did go through it, that we need to, yeah. Okay, and then last but not least, we're going to see what they're talking about.
We begin with that breaking news.
What happened to him after the magistrate judge actually got to talk to him and the details in what is really going on, and we'll kind of wrap it up because, like I said, we're probably going to have to watch the court cases live, and because this particular case is already so high in the media, I know you guys probably don't know how cases get put in the media. If they're put in the forefront of the media, like early on in stages, and obviously his legal team is probably going to push for it because he's a high-profile individual, and public sway does kind of have a bit Not 100%. It really doesn't change too much, the charges and, of course, the decision. But people can sway the decision just slightly. And we'll see if there'll be anybody on Diddy's side. I didn't see any signs up saying free Diddy or anything like that. But we're going to have to see. Let me let you see this part, though. I don't want you guys to tune out on me. Let's keep you active. Let's get active.
Here at 6 today, a judge orders Sean Diddy Combs held without bail. He pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges following a bombshell indictment today. Alice Gaynor covers courts and joins us now live from Lower Manhattan with all the new details. Alice.
Christine, Sean Diddy Combs himself entered the not guilty plea. He walked into the courtroom with a very serious expression. He scanned the room. He had about 12 family members and friends there to support him. Otherwise, the room was basically attorneys and members of the press. The two sides essentially litigated the case when they were making the argument for bail or no bail. Prosecutors say he's a flight risk. He's an extreme danger to the community. He's a serial abuser, they say, and a serial obstructor. His attorney argued that he had earned the trust of the court and of the judge, because he flew to New York in anticipation of being arrested and wanted to turn himself in. They also mentioned that he's in the process of trying to sell his plane. He handed over his passports to his attorneys, but the judge ruled he be held without bail. Sean Diddy Combs is accused of creating a criminal enterprise, of using employees, resources, and influence to allegedly carry out crimes including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice.
Those are a few more charges. The bribery, arson is crazy, and obstruction of justice.
That employees like security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors allegedly helped facilitate and cover up his abuse and sex escapades, never intervening. Other arrests could be coming.
I'm not taking anything off the table.
The previously reported March 2016 Los Angeles hotel.
Now, this is the very graphic Cassie situation. And I just want y'all to take a pause because he did a lot here, but this is exactly what started it. This getting put to the media is, now this is saying it happened March 16, 2016. So they went a little bit further back to start their investigation or get facts for the investigation. Again, because I just want y'all to get a kind of a clear definition on how far back they've gone to prosecute Diddy. Because again, this is an episode where we're trying to get all the facts, so that way when we start watching the live case, we're like, okay, boom, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is exactly what's going to happen. Again, this is all very graphic, so I'm gonna let this play.
Video showing Diddy attacking then-girlfriend singer Cassie.
And Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet.
The indictment alleges Diddy abused people for decades, verbally, emotionally, physically, and sexually. He's accused of manipulating women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. These elaborate sex performances were referred to as freak-offs, which Combs is accused of arranging, directing, and recording.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercials.
He thought he was Hugh Hefner. This part we seen. Hold on.
Giving people drugs like cocaine, oxycodone, and ketamine, to name a few, controlling their careers, using money and threats allegedly to get what he wanted. During these so-called freak-offs and at other times, it's alleged he hit, kicked, and threw objects at and dragged victims.
Yeah, it's all going consistent, y'all. So, we got all of this. Let me see something. I just want to get to the part where they're talking about why they didn't.
Minimum of 15 years behind bars. Minimum of 15.
Hold on, let's listen to the lawyer. I'm sorry, y'all. This is my first time seeing it, so we all going around together. This is the aftermath with the lawyer, and we're going to see what the lawyer has to say after there was no bond and he is being held in jail.
Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. We're appealing the decision to hold him without bail.
Combs faces a minimum of 15 years behind bars, up to life in prison if convicted on these 3 felony counts. His attorney says he is fighting the no bail ruling today. There is a bail appeal hearing scheduled for tomorrow.
I don't think it's going to be life. It's going to be multiple life charges. It's not going to be one because one would be crazy. It's going to be a long, hard-fought case, though.
Christine.
All right, some shocking allegations there, Alice. Thank you for that update. Diddy's legal troubles first picked up steam last year. He has faced a number of lawsuits since then.
Unnamed music producer lawsuits. Golly. Dainty Kane singer.
Filed by an unnamed music producer to former college student Joy Dickerson, and most recently, one of the singers from the band Danity Kane, Dawn Richard. Now, the first lawsuit came in November of 2023 from Diddy's ex-girlfriend, singer Cassie, alleging years of abuse and rape. The two parties settled the next day. And then
so he settled behind doors with her, but this is just the beginning. This is what sparked it off, though. So just know, Cassie sparked it off. Now that you got Don Kane and everybody else coming
in March, federal agents raided his homes in Miami and L.A. In May, video surfaced showing Combs attacking Cassie in an L.A. hotel in 2016. He publicly apologized days later. In June, Combs returned his key to the city at the request of Mayor Adams. All of this now leading up to his arrest yesterday. Do stay with CBS News New York.
Stay with Juicy News on YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. But yeah, guys, this is what's going on with Diddy, y'all. This is it. This is what these are the charges that are being brought to him. Like they said, at minimum, he's facing 16 to 24 years in prison. And I think that might spike up to multiple life charges when we see all the victims that come to light. As the agents, federal agents said there, you guys, if anybody that happens to be watching, if you happen to have been a victim, you can call in on that tip line and then they will, work things out with you. I greatly appreciate everybody for taking the time to watch today. There's no more information as of yet, only speculations, and I can see that this one, it's a wrap, man. I just don't know how much time, if any, is going to be, because, a lot of people want to try to say that this might be similar to the Tekashi 6ix9ine lawsuit where he, by being compliant, but there's nobody for Diddy to snitch on that will give him enough immunity to allow him to get off of this. But that, that will go to see. We will see. And as you know, Diddy is a billionaire, so this is something that's going to be real crazy to see in the news too. Like they said, doesn't matter how powerful or how much money or where you came from, how much influence you have, they're going to come for you. And that's where it's really getting even more crazy. But I thank you guys again, because I'm about to sign off, for watching this episode. If you can, and if you've been watching, I just ask that you hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button for you guys over on Twitch and Rumble. And if you can, hit that like button, because it's all free to you guys, and I greatly appreciate it. And it'll help us to grow and to share this message with more people. This has been your boy Juice, and I appreciate you all. Peace.